Hello and welcome back to another FPL video, and in this video I'm going to be talking about my transfer plans ahead of game week 31. Now these players I've been looking at possibly bringing into my team ahead of game week 31 will all be playing in game week 32. Now obviously there is going to be 4 teams blanking in 32, and teams like Man City and Man United are going to be blanking, so I could easily put more Man City and United players in my team. But because of that blank, I'm going to avoid those two teams doing that. Otherwise, if I have, let's say, 3 of each, that's 6 players that won't be playing in game week 32, which really narrows it down. Obviously, another team who won't be playing in game week 32 is Chelsea, and I already have 2 Chelsea players, so that would really require me to do a free hit chip for game week 32, and I don't want to do that. I want to try and avoid that and use that for game week 34, and I don't want to do a big hit either. So Man City, Man United players are going to be a no-no, and obviously I'm not going to go for a third Chelsea player. Now, I was going to put Harvey Barnes in this video, but unfortunately he went off injured in the last game with a hamstring injury. From the looks of it, he will be out in the next game. So that's 2 weeks in a row now where there's a player I've been looking at bringing in. So the week before was Zaha, and now it's Harvey Barnes, who scored 2 goals in the last 4 games. He was looking good. Now I know Leicester had Man City next game, which is obviously the toughest game you can get. But after that, their fixtures were looking really good, and they weren't blanking in 32. So, a bit gutted about that one, but there is some other players who I've looked at instead who are cheaper options. Some of them, obviously some are a bit more expensive, but I think they'll do my team pretty decent over the next few weeks. So then the first player I've got on here is Andres Pereira of Fulham. Now this guy had, at the start of the season, I had him for most of the season. I took him out during my second wild card, but to be honest, I had no reason to take him out. I wish I kind of didn't now, if I'm being honest, because obviously I'm looking at bringing him back. But at the time, I had my reasons for taking him out. But now I feel like might be a good time to bring him back in. It still amazes me, right, that he's only 4.3 million. He's 13% owned, so he's still pretty decently owned right now. But yeah, I did think, considering how many points, he's got over 100 points this season already. He's only 4.3 million. I thought by now it'd be at least gone up to 5 million. But obviously, a lot of people decided to sell him. I think he went up to 4.6, and that was it. Maybe 4.7, I can't quite remember. But he's dropped right down to 4.3 million now, so he's so cheap at the minute. Obviously, Mitrovic is currently out for quite a while now, so I think he's got 7 games left, is it? So he's going to be out for a long time. So Fulham are going to be really looking at him. Obviously, he's going to be now for sure the penalty taker. Beforehand, it was Mitrovic, but whenever he was out, Pereira did step up when he was on the pitch. So it does look like he'll be the number 1 penalty taker. Now, in terms of goals this season, he's only got 3 goals. Not really a lot. I thought he had more, to be honest, in the league, but only 3. But look at those assists. 10 assists, that's incredible. Nobody expected that at the start of the season. And when you look at his fixtures he's got coming up, Everton away, that's going to be a tough fixture. But obviously, Everton do concede goals. Leeds at home is a really nice fixture. Now, Villa away is turned to a pretty difficult place to go to. But who knows, they might have nothing to play for at that point. But maybe, then again, they might be going for Europe at that point as well. So the next 2 games, 31 and 32, look really nice for Pereira. Obviously, game week 33 is going to be a tough one. And then game week 34, the double. I mean, it's probably one of the worst doubles you can probably get. Man City at home, Liverpool away. So if I did bring in Pereira, it would be for short term. But what I'm thinking about this guy is mostly it's the cost of him. He's only 4.3 million. And obviously, a lot of people out there probably don't have Haaland. They're probably looking at bringing Salah in, and you need money in the bank. And if you want to bring somebody in that's cheap, that's going to play for sure. So if one of your guys get injured, because obviously he's most of the time going to be on your bench. And if that person does get injured and he's your first guy on the bench, there's a good chance that he can get you maybe 8 points in a game, which is pretty decent to be fair, especially for his price. I get a feeling next season he's going to be 5.5 million. So have him now while you still can, because I don't think next season he's going to be as desirable. So next up, we're going for Eze of Crystal Palace. Now, this one definitely feels like more of a knee-jerk reaction from the looks of things. But I have mentioned this guy in the past before, and you can't ignore the last 2 games. So we got the assist against Leicester. He scored one of the many goals in the last game against West Ham. So that's goal and assist in his last 2 games. So that's good form. You got to admit that's some good form. That's what you want. And you obviously got the bonus points on top of that. Now, beforehand, when I looked at him when Patrick Vieira was in charge, I did like the look of him, but unfortunately Vieira would just take him off the odd game, which is a little frustrating. Whereas Roy Hodgson, who's now in charge, he's very much picks his favourite 11 week in, week out a lot of the time, with maybe the odd one or two changes up front. But Eze looks like he could be a man that will get at least 85 plus minutes most games. So that's a massive positive. 5 goals and 4 assists all season doesn't look like a lot, to be fair, but in terms of points overall, when you compare him to Pereira, who I've just mentioned before, they're very similar. I think it's like 1 or 2 points different for the season, so he's not done too bad, clearly. And obviously, you've got to look at these fixtures that Crystal Palace have coming up. So there's no double in 34 for them, but they've got Southampton away. That's obviously nice. That's bottom of the league. Everton they've got at home. Nice one. Wolves away. Bit trickier, but okay. And then West Ham at home. All teams that are in and around them. And Roy Hodgson is a really good manager. He's proved before that he can keep teams up. And I think this is going to happen again. Like I said before with Pereira, if you're looking at freeing up some more money as well, Eze is only 5.4 million himself, so he's dirt cheap. And he's only 2% owned, so this is definitely going to be a great differential to go for. And he's definitely somebody I'm thinking about bringing into my team. So we've got another midfielder on here, Mo Salah. Now, all these players that I'm going to mention, so the next two I'm recommending not to buy, are also midfielders. Purely because, defenders wise, there's nobody out there for me that's desirable to get. And when it comes to strikers, there's players out there I want, but then I can't guarantee they'll start or they'll play more than 60 minutes. So they're frustrating to look at. Maybe I can make a goalkeeper change and bring in Edison, because Man City's fixtures do look good after game week 32, but obviously 32 is a blank, and I don't fancy bringing in more Man City players right now. So that's why I'm not mentioning any defenders or goalkeepers, should I say. But midfielders, that's where I'm looking at. That's where I can make my changes to my team. Obviously, Eze, Pereira, Mo Salah, obviously 13 goals, 8 assists, 21 contributions out of 30. I think that's pretty decent considering everybody's saying he's had a bit of a bad season. Their next 5 fixtures should I say, are nice as well. So you've got Leeds in game week 31, that's nice. Forest, which I think this is the big one for me. Forest at home at Anfield. I think Liverpool can do some serious damage there. I thought about that against Bournemouth and it never happened, but hopefully this time it does. West Ham away, I mean, that could be a tough fixture, 33, but I do think Liverpool can win that one. Spurs at home. Spurs are all over the place right now. Still haven't got a manager. Whether I have a manager by 34, I don't know. And obviously, it is a double game week with 34 for Liverpool, and they have Fulham as well. 2 home games in their double game week. That is what you want to see as well. So they've got a great set of fixtures coming up. There's no blank for Liverpool in 32, and I think they have the best fixture in game week 32. That's why I'm really looking at Mo Salah. Now, I did think about maybe going for Darwin Núñez, but like I said before, his minutes are a risk. He got dropped the other day, so that's another striker that I can't really count on. They've got Jota, they've got Gakpo. Who else Liverpool got? Obviously got Diaz coming back. They've got several other options. Firmino. You can't guarantee that any of them are going to start. Mo Salah you can. They've got no more cup competitions, Liverpool, so I feel like he is the best bet to go for. He's on penalties. I mean, I know he missed one the other day, but it doesn't really matter. He still scored in that game, so his confidence wasn't shot that much. So I do think he'd be a great buy. 26.4% is pretty low for Mo Salah as well, so he's definitely somebody I'm seriously considering about bringing my team. Maybe not for 31, but I definitely want to get him in for 32. So next up on is Jack Grealish in Man City. Now, this guy's been in unbelievable form the last couple of games for Man City, and everybody's plunging in to try and buy him now, and I don't blame him because obviously he's been great. My advice is hold off. If you haven't got him, pause on that for a second. Don't jump on the bandwagon just yet. Why? Well, he's just played, literally, he's just finished now, Man City. He's just played 90 minutes there against Bayern Munich, where obviously Man City comfortably beat Bayern Munich. He's then got Leicester 3 days later at home. So he could have his minutes managed in that game, whether he'll start, maybe not. But if he did start, I would be surprised if he goes past 60 minutes. So there's an issue there. Yes, he's blanking in 32, but that doesn't mean he ain't got a game in 32. He's got a Champions League game against Bayern Munich again in that gap. And then he's got the FA Cup game in the middle of all that. And then he obviously got 33, he's got Arsenal at home. So Man City have got a lot of games in this short period of time, so there is a lot of rotation possibly from Pep. And obviously, in that position where Jack Grealish plays, there is other players in there that can obviously come on replace him. So that's why I would say hold off on Grealish. If you want to gamble, go for him in the Leicester game. Sure, why not? I'm definitely not going to be. I mean, he could get a haul of points against Leicester. He might not. Obviously, Leicester have just sacked their manager, so I mean, I say just sacked the manager. They obviously sacked him the other week, but they've got a new guy in charge now, so maybe they might do well against Man City. I doubt it, but either way, I don't think he'll play many minutes against Leicester. Could be wrong though. But also, will say as well, I've not got Kevin De Bruyne on there, but he's just gone off injured against Bayern Munich tonight. So if you are thinking about bringing him in, probably hold off on that one as well, because it looks like he's going to be out for the Leicester game, regardless of his injury. I don't think Pep will risk him now, so hold off. Definitely don't go for De Bruyne if you're thinking about going for him, because he looks like he's injured. And hold off on Jack Grealish, because his minutes could be managed in this next game. And obviously, blank in 32, and Arsenal at home in 33 is going to be a mega fixture. Who knows what will happen there? So that's a tough game. But then 34, if you want to buy him, by all means go for him, because he's got a nice double game week in 34. So yeah, that's my views on Jack Grealish. So my last player on here is obviously Marcus Rashford of Man United. For obvious reasons, he went off injured in the last game for United, and it doesn't look good from the sounds of it after that press conference. We still haven't had an update yet, but from the sounds of it, it didn't look good. So in terms of positivity, it's probably about 10%. I know the FPL site's going pretty high up as in whether he's going to play in this game, but we'll have to see in the press conference, see what they say. But if he doesn't play in that game week 31 it's Forest, which I did want him for that week, it's definitely going to be a hard sell for me. He's going to be blanking in 31, he'll be blanking in 32. Then he's got Spurs in 33, which is away. That's going to be tough. And they're double for 34. Aston Villa at home, who are on fire right now. Brighton away, who are also on fire right now. That is a horrible set of fixtures. Realistically, you could put all those red, obviously, and then the 2 white blanks. So, a horrible run of fixtures. Yes, he's been brilliant this season. 15 goals, 5 assists, averaging 6 points a game. But if he's injured, there's no point having my team any longer. He's quite highly owned still. He's quite high priced. So, and obviously, his price is just going to drop if I leave him any longer. So obviously, I think he drops maybe in price tonight. He probably drop price again to the weekend. So that could be an issue. Maybe I should go in early on transfer. I don't like to go early on transfers for obvious reason. But Marcus Rashford could be one that I might just have to quickly go take him out, which is not something I want. I could really do with news earlier to see if he's going to play against Forest. But at the minute, it looks like he had such a great run since the World Cup. But it looks like that run is now come to an end, and I think maybe it is going to be time to get rid of Marcus Rashford. And there you have it. Those are my transfer plans for game week 31, looking ahead of game week 32. Now, if there's any players out there you think I've missed, let me know, because no doubt there is. There'll probably be a defender or a striker for sure that I've probably missed out, but people are going, why have you not gone for him? But if there is, let us know. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe, and I'll see you all on the next one.